Hi, I'm Damali Robertson, and welcome to Soul Centered Conversations, where each week we're going to talk to spiritual teachers and sages about everyday spiritual practices and spiritual life. And so today I have with me Karen Smith, who she and I are in community at Heart and Soul Center of Light. And I'm so grateful that you're here. And, for me, I sat in on your workshop around forgiveness and it felt life changing. And so I wanted to talk to you. So thank you for being here, Karen. Please tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you so much, Damali, for having me, inviting me. I am honored as well to be here. I am Karen Smith. I'm a practitioner of Hawaiian culture and spiritual tradition, of Afro-Cuban tradition, of Afro-Brazilian tradition, of Jamaican tradition.
I was going to say, I know there's lots of traditions. What about the Jamaican?
And so I always feel called, although I'm an artist, I'm a singer and dancer, and I'm attracted usually by the song and dance of a culture, I usually end up learning about the spirituality.
So you go deep into the culture. So it's not, because a lot of people love to just go see something or explore at a surface level, but it feels like what you're saying is that you try to get beneath the surface.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For me, otherwise it's meaningless.
Yeah. No, I could see that. And so, as I mentioned before, when you led that Ho'oponopono session at Heart and Soul, I was like, okay, you kind of unpacked it in a way I'd never heard about it. And, for maybe first you could tell us what Ho'oponopono is.
Okay. Ho'oponopono is an ancient Hawaiian forgiveness, cleansing process. When there is conflict between people or between communities, in ancient times, people would come together and talk about the process, talk about what was happening, what one side saw, what the other side saw. There would be days and days of talking and negotiating, meals, food shared. It was a serious, intense community practice, from what I understand. And more recently, a man named Dr. Hugh Len learned about the practice and sort of distilled it into these 4 statements. But to jump back a little bit, Ho'oponopono itself means to make right. Ho'o is to do, to take action, and the word pono in Hawaiian means done, and done well.
So often I'm wanting people to understand something, and I feel like that's sometimes what's missing in conflict and harm is that we don't understand and we don't seek for understanding. We kind of just shut it down, I'm done, move on. But that doesn't get it done.
No.
Yeah.
No. And both people are usually still feeling about the situation because it's not clear.
Seriously.
Not clear.
Seriously. And speaking of the when you did the workshop, and I'm sure there are other people like this, I'd be thinking I'm good. I'll think, I've forgiven everyone I need to forgive. I'm perfectly fine. I walked into that workshop more or less let me come and support Karen. She's doing her workshop. Let me support Imagine Justice. They're amazing. Let me just be here. And I hadn't realized how much I still had for people, but for myself. But the other piece that I left that workshop thinking about is I still need to forgive myself for some stuff. Whoa. And so I want to ask you about the 4 steps because you covered those so well in the workshop, but also how often do you find that you need something or you're in that moment and you realize people still have so much to work out?
Every time I've talked about it or taught about it, or even for myself, as I was telling you earlier, I find myself going way down the road of being really angry at someone over there. Why are they doing that? Why does it look like that? This is really annoying. And then I have to really catch myself and say, oh, that's me. And then I go to, I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. Which are the 4 steps of Ho'oponopono.
So when you can't get it done and done well, when you can't have days of working through forgiveness like they did in the times when they were so wise and like really had it really thought out. The 4 steps help. And tell us why those 4 steps help and how 4 steps help, and just tell me about it. Like repeat the steps again for me.
So the intention behind Ho'oponopono is that everything that we see outside of ourselves is us. In Science of Mind, I create the world. I create my world. And so I'm creating everything that I see outside of myself. And so the purpose of Ho'oponopono is to remind me that I'm creating that experience. I'm creating either the experience, I'm creating my reaction to the experience. And so the Ho'oponopono reminds me of that, reminds me that I can shift. I'm sorry. But, I'm sorry. And my part, on my part, I'm creating the confusion, anger, frustration, whatever it is. I love you. So remembering to apply love. Like a heart and soul, just apply love. We're bringing the love. We're coming with the love. I love you. Please forgive me for my part in creating this. And thank you for the opportunity to remember who I am, to remember my divinity, to remember your divinity, which is my divinity. So it really just brings you back to the center. It brings you back to the divinity of the situation, the divinity of everybody involved.
Yes, and sometimes we lose track of that divinity. I know I do. A hand in the air.
On the way here this morning,
when I went home from that workshop, I was like, okay, I still have some work to do. I actually, after that, had 9 people, including myself, that I did Ho'oponopono for like maybe 30 days after that. Every morning, as part of my practice, I added a forgiveness piece, and I went down the list, and some of the people surprised me. Older family members, younger family members, or close friends, or friends that are no longer in that same configuration of friendship. Just there was a list of 9, and I was like, whoa, and also me. So, and some of what I recognize is that I had stuff like, oh my God, like I chose this person, or I still have negative views of myself that I'm still holding on to, and like wanting to forgive that stuff so that I could move forward. Because it feels to me like the big part of forgiveness is the moving forward, is the ability to have it done well, and move forward. Tell me, how do you use it? How do you incorporate these practices?
I use it all the time, and just like you, I find often, that I thought I was complete with something. I thought I had forgiven something, and then I noticed, like an event is rolling through my head from 19 years ago that it really is done, or it should be, but it's not done for me apparently, and so I have to go back, and I have to do the practice. I'm sorry. I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. And it doesn't even really matter the order of the words, but it's the energy and the intention is to release this situation in love. Especially if you can't contact the person, if they're not living, or they're out of your reach. You can't call often, although often with Ho'oponopono, all of a sudden those people will call you as you bring them up. You'll hear from them, an email, phone call, a message from another person, and it'll give you an opportunity to actually talk with that person. But you may find that the energy of it is gone as you continue to do the Ho'oponopono and release the energy around the situation, that it no longer has any, or it'll stop having so much fire for you. But it's a lifelong practice. It's a lifelong practice. Yes.
And in the workshop, you shared about how it was used with that gentleman you mentioned, the doctor you mentioned. It was in a prison setting, wasn't it?
Yes.
And didn't he use it with, like, get the records of the prisons and do it for each person? And then soon if I'm telling this correctly,
Mm-hmm.
that prison really was empty or it was no need for
And
it.
had to close down.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
And so I found that fascinating because it felt to me like the energy was an important part, and you touched on that.
Yes.
And I thought to myself, well, how does this work? If, like, for example, this person doesn't know I'm even like channeling this for them or for us on behalf of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm getting from that conversation, from what you just said, is that it's an energetic.
It's an energetic. So that person's soul knows. The human self may not know, but their soul knows. And so their souls are working it out, are doing Ho'oponopono. Because with Dr. Helen, he never met any of the people that he did Ho'oponopono for in the prison. He never met them. He sat in his office with their file and said, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you, regardless of what their crime was. He recognized the potential for that in himself and forgave that in himself with the intention of the other person as well, and cleared. And eventually that prison had to close because there weren't enough people.
That's what we
I think it
want.
was also a mental health prison
Right.
situation.
That's what we want more of, though. It feels like, I mean, that's why I believe in restorative justice and like the idea of that for our current prison system is doing more of that, because you talked about the potential of people and him seeing the potential in everyone. But I also see, I think that's why we're here. I think that's why we're at Heart and Soul. I think that's why we do what we do, is we see the potential in everyone. And so it feels like to me that all of us could do this. Every single person within the sound of my voice and beyond could do something like this if they were hurting, or if they felt wrong, or if they felt like, you know, this just is not going to be resolved. There's a way to resolve it, and you don't need the other person. I think we think with forgiveness is about the other person and needing them somehow. Right. So say that, speak on that.
It's never about speak on that. And it kind of goes back to, again, is we're all one. So I'm you. You're me. We're all one. So if something comes up in me in relation to you, or something I think you said or did, it's really about, I'm the one that's triggered. There's something that's being triggered in me.
Lord, that's a lot of
So I'm
responsibility.
sorry, I love you. Please forgive me. Thank you. So
But you're
it's not you. It's not really you. It's just you're providing the opportunity for me to look at that wound, wherever it came from, whether it's childhood, young adulthood, whenever the wound happened. It's an opportunity for me to look and to heal that. And to thank you for the opportunity. That's what the thank you's for.
Right. And I mean, I've found huge benefit in doing the practice. Even when I talked about the 9 people, including myself, I found that I've let myself off the hook a little bit more from doing this practice. So thank you for that teaching. Thank you for doing the work that you do. Thank you for delving into culture in a way that allows us to see some of the stuff that is not part of like popular culture, and not the things that we're going to see all over the, you know, like the headlines and the news feeds, but the things that feel still important. And I think the value in culture is often the closest thing to the kind of the most indigenous parts of it. So thank you for studying that and sharing it with us.
Well, thank you for having me and letting me share that.
Yay! Can I give you a
The
hug?
tools, absolutely.
All right.